Okay, today we're playing a game on King's Row. We are in the Platinum SR range, and we will be playing Soldier 76 the entire way through. And our current team composition is not in my line of sight. It's Winston, Soldier 76, Widowmaker, Genji, Ana, and Mercy. So, several reasons to be sad. Only one tank, which is sad. No Zarya. Principal issue here, not being the other tank. None of our DPS are Hanzo. And we've got no Zenyatta either. Also, both of our healers are main healers, and typically you want one main healer, one off healer, because the off healers make it easier to kill people, and they have the very strong defensive ultimates like Sound Barrier and Transcendence. I shouldn't say they blanketly have very strong defensive ultimates, because let's be real, Rally isn't much of a defensive ultimate, but it gives you armor, so you can't deny that it is defensive. Anyway, so let's start the game. So we're attacking King's Row first. Waiting to go out the door. Alright. So, we are on... No, we're not on console today. I don't know why. I thought the Q was a triangle, which means I'm probably having a stroke. It's okay. So, Widowmaker's managed to kill McCree. It's a good start. Winston's jumping into the entire enemy team. Put your biotic field down. You're currently dying. We're walking around at 50 health. Even now, we're walking around at 130 health, which is just blanketly very scary. Don't do that. So, with 76, we like to have very long sight lines and be very far away from the enemy team. The other side of the statue is better for that. Because if you're on the other side of the statue, you can actually see down this way. Whereas if you're over here, you have to actually physically round the corner to see around there, which is less ideal, because if you're over there, you can just see straight down the alleyway. Also, it's easier to get, like, ganked from the doorway over here if you're standing on this side of the statue. The right side of the statue is the place to be, just generally, but particularly for Soldier, who likes to have long sight lines and be far away from the enemy team. If you think you have time, ideally you can go up onto the high ground as well, but you do have to remove yourself from the fight for like 3 or 4 seconds to get all the way up the staircase, so there's also that. But ideally, we're on the up on the platform as well. But we've just kind of rolled over them quite easily, so no issue. What was their team comp? I wasn't paying attention to everyone who died, admittedly. Do they only have one healer? No, because McCree... Oh, we pushed tab right there. I'm not going back again. It's fine. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Knowing what the enemy team comp is kind of important. But, who cares? You know, they've got a Moira and a Lucio. Alright. So yeah, they couldn't do anything to undo the McCree pick right at the start of the game. That's still the thing that's really... That's still the thing that's, like, really strong about Mercy. That she has over, like, Moira and Ana. Is, like, she can undo picks, right? Which is a big deal, because it's just hard to fight 5v6. So Genji's off using Dragon Blade right now, which means we don't really have to do very much of anything. Mercy's decided to use Valkyrie, which was not exactly necessary looking, but whatever, she decided to do it anyway. And they're getting into a bit of a scuffle over there. We're just going to keep touching the payload, that's fair enough. Not really Soldier's ideal fight to get into over there in the tight confines of the bar. So I'm going back because, like, we did not have our Helix rocket off cooldown. Okay, I was like, we could have shot him as he come around the corner with the Helix rocket and he would have died, but we did not actually have the Helix rocket off cooldown, so that's sad. He died regardless. We're going to come up here right now. This is some pretty sick high ground to be on if you can get up here. That's cool. It's just a little cumbersome to get up here. If they're directly underneath you, that's a little bit unfortunate as well, but high ground is just generally really good to be on. For a great many reasons that have been well covered extensively by this point. We do also have Tac Visor built up, and we're in, like, the ideal position to use it. Their Diva's dead, so nobody can be eaten or ultimate either. And now is, like, pretty much the time to use it. Because, like, we'll just kill Moira through Coalescence. She doesn't heal. Coalescence's regen is not enough to save you from Tac Visor. And she just, like, goes way out of cover. And, you know, you could argue that this kind of looks like we're gonna win regardless, but, like, it's just annoying enough that I would have just used Tac Visor to get it over and done with as quickly as possible. No one is pushing the payload right now. Now somebody is pushing the payload, and this is important because we don't actually capture the second checkpoint. But we definitely could have done if somebody was touching the payload the entire time, because it was only like 5 meters away and it wasn't getting pushed for like 4 seconds, so, or longer than that. So we needed to jump down and start pushing the payload sooner, because then we would have actually captured the checkpoint, which is better than not catching the checkpoint. Shocking, I know, absolutely startling information. Look what's on the other side of this cup, though. It's a very cheerful mug. So we got Span on. I was busy looking at my mug. Feels bad, bro. Oh, he's jumped on us? He jumped on us from behind. I see. We can probably figure out that was going to happen based off of the kill feed, but I'm not going to go back that far to agonize over that one. Because the broader thing here is that, like, if we were touching the payload, we wouldn't have even ever been in that situation to begin with. Which, I mean, you know, well, so then you're not going to say anything for the next 3 minutes. You know. So they're using a lot of ultimates right now. We're being pushed into the corner by Roadhog, but then he actually helped us accelerate out of the way a little bit faster. Hooray. They used a lot of ultimates. We're not meant to win that fight. They didn't even use that many good ultimates, but they used a lot of ultimates, so it's just how it is. We finally have a Hanzo. Look at that. Way to make a change to Hanzo. Objectively better hero. Hooray. Is the rest of our team comp any good yet? No, but at least we have the best hero in the game on our team now. So we do have Tac Visor built up. They do still have a Diva, so that's inconvenient. We've been, like, nano-boosted mad early, and it's not a good time, really, to use Tac Visor, because we can't actually, like, see the enemy team yet, right? This is a problem that Soldier has on King's Row, that Tac Visor is not very good on this map because there's just so many corners to go around and get out of the way. And then there's a Diva right there just waiting to eat some of it, right? So it's like, we can sprint forward to look around the corner and start using Tac Visor over there, but we're only going to be using it on, like, Roadhog, Diva, and Bridget. So it's just not a really good time to use Tac Visor. I wouldn't have used it at all. Because the only people we could use it on, realistically, from that position, are people that we don't need to use Tac Visor to hit. So, you know, we got nano boosted, like, mad early. We couldn't actually, like, see anybody yet, to begin with, but, like, it wasn't the time to use Tac Visor. Better off just using the nano boost to try and do, like, damage to the tanks, and then save Tac Visor for later on, because it's just not the time for it. When you get nano boosted, I mean, I know how it is, you know. I play Reinhardt, so I got nano boosted quite a lot, because, you know, that's just the easy nano boost target. You always feel pressured that you have to do something, right? Like, you feel pressured to use your ultimate. You're like, well, I gotta ult now, because otherwise grandma's gonna be disappointed in me, and I don't want that. But sometimes, like, you just can't do anything with the nano boost because you got nano boosted at the wrong time. If you're playing Reinhardt, sometimes you just have to stand there holding your shield up rather than actually go in there and use the nano boost at all, because you might die if you just actually go in there and start swinging. And then you just have to feel the piercing, burning gaze of Grandma's disappointment in the back of your skull. But fucking Grandma shouldn't have nano-boosted me badly, and then she wouldn't have to be disappointed in me, so it's really her fault more than it is my fault. So we've gotten into a pretty cool position, because it's high ground. If the only one who can really threaten us up here is Diva, and as Soldier, you can fight Diva. You know, you can just put the biotic field down and fight Diva. Now, tragically, our team have gotten killed behind us, so we've only got 30 seconds on the clock left, so in all likelihood, this is going to go pretty sad. We should not be doing what we're doing right now. Because we only have 30 seconds left, like, this is the most important time possible to not die. We should just back up the staircase, you know, and sprint away from her. Because, like, she just used the shift to get up there. Like, she's not going to be able to run us down if we just sprint away. And we just really don't want to die right now. She is still trying to kill us, but hey, we're playing Soldier. You can just put the biotic field down and fight the Diva. but the whole proceedings up till that point has left us a little bit worse for wear. So we end up dying right before the final checkpoint, or the final fight for the checkpoint, rather, and we had tack visor, so definitely not unimaginable that we could have swung that around if we were alive. We just had to, like, leave, just, like, back out sooner once our team started dying, and wait for them to regroup, and then we fight with the team. If there's only one fight left, like, you really don't want to die before that fight, because you don't want them to be rushing on. They're already gonna be, like, rushing through with, like, reckless abandon and probably get killed. You don't want them to also be doing it 5v6. So you might notice that the time on the video is quite short, less than 4 minutes. So that should tell you how the rest of this game goes. So Genji's managed to kill Widowmaker. We can all imagine what happened over there. Sad for Widowmaker. So our team comp hasn't really gotten that much better in between rounds. Mei is actually, like, pretty okay right now. But as you can see, like, we got a lot of DPS on this team, don't we? Well, Mei is, like, half of a tank, to be fair. Like, Mei belongs... It's gonna be so fucked up when they put the damage category in and Mei's in that, right? Because Mei's not a damage hero, is she? She'd be better off in the tank category, honestly. But, you know. It took us 2 years to get Symmetra moved, so we're not in any danger of getting Mei moved anytime soon. So I'm basically just like, where was Hanzo when we died to this? Was he just, like, outside? We did stop moving. Yeah, he's over there. Okay. We did stop moving very briefly, but sometimes you get shot by Hanzo, you know? That's just the world that we have to live in. He wasn't even aiming at us, he was trying to hit Orisa. So, like, it's just the reality of the world that we live in right now, that's, you know, sometimes you're just gonna get killed by Hanzo. That's just quite frequently, actually. But sometimes you're just gonna randomly get killed by Hanzo, and, you know, there's not a lot you can do about that. You just do what my good friend 16 here tells you to do. You know, there's nothing else you can do in that kind of situation. Sometimes you get unlucky. Sometimes they come at you with 12 ultimates, and what are you going to do? You're going to die. We shouldn't be doing this. We've lost this checkpoint. Our team are still making an effort to fight for this checkpoint, but, like, we're going to lose a duel with a Hanzo, like, 9 times out of 10 a soldier, unless we can hit him, like, square on with the Helix rocket. But he actually, like, had armor, and there was a Mercy, and it was generally not super likely to work out right there. So we just, should have given it up, or we could have tried to meet up with the rest of our team, which they were going through the building, because, I mean, that's not exactly a great angle for Soldier to go through, but being off by yourself as Soldier is typically worse, because then you just get dove and killed, and Soldier is at his weakest when people are, like, point blank right on top of him, which is another problem that Route 66, that fucking King's Row has. Very different maps. One takes place during the day, and the other is the night, you know. King's Row is a very confined map, you know, there aren't really that many, like, long lines of sight for Soldier to take advantage of, and there's almost no high ground anywhere either, outside, like, the first checkpoint, right? So I find that Soldier in general is not as good on King's Row. I find McCree tends to be better on King's Row, because McCree is better at short-range battles than Soldier is. Soldier's at his weakest when people are right on top of him. And Tac Visor is just generally less good on this map because of the amount of ways to break line of sight. Well, can't you make a similar argument about Deadeye? Well, yes, you can, Strawman. But the problem is, well, not the problem, the thing is that Deadeye is also used as a zoning ultimate, whereas Tac Visor is a kill you ultimate. So if you end up using Deadeye just to zone people out of the street for 6 seconds, you're not so heartbroken about that. If you use Tac Visor to zone people out of the street for 6 seconds, like, you're pretty upset about that, because you were really hoping to kill their entire team. So, textbook Snowball, they just ran at us with, like, 4 ultimates. And our Reinhardt did not block the Earth Shatter, and, you know, we're standing behind the Reinhardt. We have to trust that he's going to block the Earth Shatter, and quite frequently he won't. And there's not that much you can do about it. We could have taken the time to go up onto the high ground for that part of the map instead, because you can just, like, walk up from the defender's side, but realistically unlikely to work out. The Excuse me? Stylish. If somebody was walking down the street wearing that, I'd fucking call the police. Because they're clearly a deviant that's not to be trusted. What else we got today? We got Parallel World Part 3. Okay. What the where the fuck? The YouTube algorithm is so fucked up. Holy shit. Like, what am I... Like, first off, it's hideous. But secondarily, when the fuck am I putting makeup on? You know? We got my own videos. Okay, fair enough. Despite being from England, I don't give a shit about football. Yes, it is football. Because, you know, it's not soccer. Because, you know what? We play this game with our feet and a ball. So it's football, you fuckers. Guy picks Widow and Toxic Man goes insane. Sounds about right. I do not speak these moon runes. And I don't even know what this is. Alright, so the YouTube algorithm is fucked, but I think we all already knew that. Whatever. Like, the principal thing with the game we just watched, though, was just that, like, we could have captured the second checkpoint, which then, at that point, changes the entire rest of the game, right? So, really, the big thing is just, like, keep an eye on who's pushing the objective. If it's no one, you should probably start going and pushing the objective, because someone has to be pushing it. Even if you're playing Genji, like, yeah, you don't want to be sat on the payload, but, like, if nobody else is pushing the payload, you gotta go sit on it, because otherwise it ain't going anywhere. Because the whole game, like, there's an entire alternate universe where we played on the third checkpoint, right? That completely changes the entire rest of the game. So, like, the really big thing is just, like, keep an eye on the objective. You know, Platinum tends to be... Like, once you get, like, Platinum and above, there tends to be less, like, glaring things to talk about, because by that point, typically the really big glaring mistakes have been hammered out, and it tends to be more about, like, smaller things, like, keep an eye on, keep an eye on who's pushing the objective, keep an eye on, like, how many people are alive and dead on your team, because you do actually, like, need your team to get stuff done, and, try not to, like, overstay your welcome, basically. Recognize when it's time to leave, and when to, like, hold your ultimate, even if you got nano boosted. There was actually something in the email I've just remembered, which is, do you have any method for focusing on any given skill to improve? Because to my knowledge, the best way to improve is to focus on one skill. But even when I try and focus on one thing, I see a nano boost and go, ooh, shiny, or whatever, and completely lose track of what I was trying to improve on, even though it might be written down and right in front of me. So, yeah, basically the best way to improve is just to, like, hard focus on one thing at a time, then, you know, you'll improve in that area faster by hard focusing on it. And even if you do, like, lose track of what you're trying to improve on now and then, like, that's not the end of the world. Like, as long as you're still, like, cognizant of the thing that you're trying to improve on and, like, critical of what you're doing at the time, you'll still improve on it, even if now and then you do get nano boosted and just go, ooh, shiny, or something like that, right? Like, you should just, like, focus on one thing at a time and try to improve on it. And, like, don't be too bothered if you lose track of what you're trying to improve on now and then, because, like, that's just, like, how human beings kind of are. As long as you're still cognizant of it, like, that's still getting the work done at the end of the day. Like, the other, like, I don't personally focus on, like, one thing to improve on at a time, because basically what I do is just, like, whenever I do something that was a mistake, I just kind of, like, recognize at the time that, oh, that was a mistake, you know, I died, or I could have saved someone, or I missed an opportunity there, and I'll just take a second or two to think about that and be like, alright, so why did I fuck up? Was it decision making or was it mechanical? Is like the first thing, because like sometimes you make the correct decision but then fail to execute it properly. So you have to recognize like, was it a good idea or a bad idea? And if it was was it a good idea and I just fucked it up, basically. And then if it was a bad idea, I just go, all right, well, what could I have done instead in that position? I'll just take a second, like, once I make the mistake, to think about the mistake and be like, all right, what could I do in this situation next time it arises? And then try to bear that in mind going forward. I don't even really, like, try to focus on one thing at a time. It's just, like, when I make a mistake, I just take a second to, like, reflect on that. And be like, well, good idea, bad idea. If it was a bad idea, what could I have done instead? Is like what I do, and you'll improve slower overall doing that, but it's less effort, basically, than like hard focusing on one thing, and you sort of end up being a little bit more well-rounded, because if you just like hard focus on one area, you can end up getting skewed. Your overall playstyle can end up getting kind of skewed in one direction, whereas you just sort of stay more rounded that way. But the fastest overall way to improve is just to like hard focus on one thing, and don't be like discouraged if you forget about it now and then. Just still just try to like bear it in mind, and your brain, you know, stupid monkey brain will eventually internalize what you're trying to do. So, like, even if you just, like, lose track of what you were doing, like, and then you make the mistake anyway, even though it's, like, what you're focusing on at the time, just afterwards think to yourself, like, shit, right, you know what I was supposed to be doing, right? This is what I was supposed to be doing instead. And your stupid monkey brain, you know, don't worry, we all have a stupid monkey brain. Eventually, our stupid monkey brain is going to be like, all right, don't do it this time. Right? And, like, I don't really have, any advice outside of that. It's just like, yeah, that is the best thing you can do. Just don't get, like, discouraged if you forget about it now and then. Because, like, that's the whole point. That's the whole reason you're trying to improve on it, right? Is because you're forgetting about it or not paying attention to it. So, it's whatever at the end of the day. So thank you very much for watching. If you did have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord server and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them. And I hope you found the video helpful.